This is gonna be a wild ride, so bear with me for this wrap up. April has been a really fun month. It was insane. Today's May 2nd, and I didn't even read that much. Like, I truly did not. So let's go through what I did read. First of all, I'm going to put up my flip through of my bullet journal, and there's so much in it. I'm just going to do like an overhead view and hope it looks good so that you guys can see it right now. This is my April spread with my TBR shelf and my finished books. And then on the next pages I have my reading tracker, which you can see I didn't actually read a whole lot. And then after that starts the readathon, the magical readathon, hosted by Book Roast to go to Aurelium. On the left I have my herbologist, because that's the job that I picked, and on the right I have the guild tiers, so I can like double check what all this stuff is. And then on the next page I have the syllabus, which was all the reading prompts, and if you saw my TBR, I did pick something for every prompt. So on the right starts my syllabus, all the books that I started reading. If the prompt itself is highlighted in pink, that means I actually finished it. So as you can see, I only finished Alchemy and Restoration, which were the two that I actually needed for my job as a herbologist. And then on the next page we have more prompts. I did finish one for spells and incantations, so that was really nice. And on the right is all the quests that were given out. The ones that are highlighted with the 10 points means those ones I completed. So I completed on the far right there the guild reputation points. The first 50 points were from doing the novice path. The next 50 points were from doing completing my semester, because I completed all the 2 books that I needed. And then there's 4 10-point prompts that I finished, which were quests. And then after that is my reviews, and the reviews are really short. I honestly, it felt like I read a lot this month, but I also feel like I didn't read a lot this month, so it was a lot. Super fun, super cool. I even used my little superpower from my guild reputation points. I'm genuinely excited that I picked a easy career, because with herbologist I don't have a lot of prompts to do. Even in August, that means I can complete a bunch of quests, which is like, now my entire goal is to get up to 400 points so I complete all the quests, which is a little ridiculous, but that's what I'm here for. So now getting into my lovely little April wrap up, I finished 7.5 books. We're gonna go through 8 books, but I technically only finished 7.5. It starts off amazing, and it went downhill this whole month. Like, I was having such a good month, and then near the end it was like, ooh, you know? I was trying my best. But the first book I finished was not for a prompt. It was just something I was reading when we entered April that I just needed to finish, and I think I finished it like April 2nd or something, maybe April 3rd. And I gave it 5 stars, and it's Craved by Tracy Wolff. This, a lot of people are not going to agree with me. I literally don't care. This was exactly what I needed in the moment that I was having my mental breakdown thing that was going on, and it made me feel so much better. It made me just so happy. But it's basically Twilight fanfiction trash, but not really. It felt like Twilight fanfiction at the beginning. Like, there was definitely some like points in there that was like, this could be Twilight related, but then they all had a purpose later on, which was really fun. But this is definitely like YA vampire romance. Just not for everybody, I will tell you that. It's not for everybody, but it was for me. This was amazing. I love the cringe and the trash, and it was just, oh, so good. So in this one we're following our main character. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Grace. We're following Grace, who has lost her family, and she's now moving to Alaska to be with her uncle and her cousin, and her uncle is the headmaster of a boarding school. But it's a really weird boarding school because they're out in the middle of nowhere. She's never really seen snow before. She's like, doesn't know what to do with the cold, and she immediately is cornered by this guy Jackson, and he's like, you should leave. And she's like, I have nowhere to go, fuck you. And here becomes an enslew of people trying to kill her, trying to figure out why these cliques in the school are so cliquey, trying to fit in with her cousin's friends, but also like being chased by these 2 guys, obviously, because there's a love triangle with Jackson and another guy, I can't remember his name. It doesn't matter, because Jackson is a telekinetic vampire, and The Date with the Northern Lights will never be topped. Like, my standards were here for men. Now they're like up here. Okay, I can't get over how cute that was, how amazing. This is all I want in my life. That's all that I want. And if you don't like that, whatever. I don't recommend you read this, but I loved it a lot. This was like exactly what I wanted in life. The next book was for a prompt, and it was for, let's see, this one was for my job, so I did really good at first. It was a book featuring romance for alchemy, and it was Beach Read by Emily Henry. This was super fun. It's been a long time since I've read just a romance novel, like a contemporary romance, and in this one our two main characters, Augustus, or Gus, and January. I can't believe I forgot her name was January. January is struggling because she's learned some stuff about her family, about her dad, and she's coming to terms with that, and she is going to this beach house that her dad owns that she had no idea about to sell said beach house. And when she gets there, her neighbor is somebody she was rivaling with in university along the book community kind of thing. They're both authors. They both write very different books. He writes literary fiction and she writes romances. He doesn't like a happy ending, she likes a happy ending. And it gets to a point where they're both like, we both have writer's block. Maybe we should try writing a book that the other person would write. And in their own way, they kind of do, and they set up a competition, and it is kind of like Rivals to Lovers with like a cute little competition in the middle, but they genuinely enjoy spending time together, which is super fun. And I heard there's a different ending in the UK one. I don't know. I like this ending. It also kind of felt very weird. But I kind of I want to know what that ending is. I don't know. Somebody let me know, because the ending of this one, they get engaged. But the ending of that one, I think is like the book dedications or something to each other. I don't know. I was very confused. But I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and I did one of my classes. The next book I also did for a quest, and it was worth 10 points, and it was with the letter D in the title. And that was Arusha in the City of Gold by Roshni Chachki. And this is the 4th book in the Arusha. It was supposed to be a quartet. It's not a quartet anymore. I had a whole breakdown trying to figure out why this book wasn't the last book. I couldn't find the audiobook for this book, and then I opened it trying to read it, and it went from page 22 to page 343. So I had to go back to the bookstore and be like, I bought this copy here and it is misprinted. Like, why is the middle of the book somewhere over here? I don't know. It was very strange. I got a lot of attention in the bookstore being like, help me, and they were like, oh my god, what the heck is happening? Anywho, I don't want to tell you a whole lot in this, but it is really cute. Arusha is a Pandava. I'm so deep into this, I don't even remember what happened in the first book. And the 5th book just came out, so that I'll be excited to get to that. But I did give it 5 stars, and I got my 10 points. And after the whole fiasco of trying to figure out why I couldn't read the book, and why chapter 43 was there instead of chapter 4, it was a time. But this was amazing. And I definitely recommend, if you want to start with Rick Riordan Presents this series. I haven't read any of the other ones, but I've had so much fun with this series, and I genuinely love it so much. I just can't. There is like some crazy conflicting emotions. Aru has a sister that she didn't know about, and they're trying to save the world. The 5 Pandavas now there's 5 Pandavas, but 2 of them are a little too young to be going on quests, so there's 3 of them, and they're wifey. And there's a bunch of lore, and I love the history that it follows. It's just honestly like, this is like a feel-good book. This is like a good comfort book. I feel like I'm losing my voice already, and I've only just started. The next book was a surprise for me. This one I think was also for a quest. Aha! This was to steal a book from someone else's TBR, so I watched a bunch of people's Aurelian TBRs, and I got A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. Somebody used this for their lore prompt. I mention it in my vlog, which will be up after this video set sometime, and I loved it. I own the Kindle version, and I rented the audiobook, and I read it in 2 days, and then I went out and bought the actual physical copy because I loved it so much. This is a modern telling of Hades and Persephone. I gave it 4 stars. I almost gave it 5 stars, but I only gave it 4 stars because I have a true belief that Persephone was not an idiot, and she knew exactly what she was doing, and she ate the pomegranate seeds to leave her mom for 6 months on purpose. Like, she truly knew what she was doing. Where in this one, Persephone is kind of an idiot. She has no idea what's going on. She is like a young goddess, whereas everybody else is like a couple hundred years old. She's like 20, 25, somewhere in that range. And she has no idea what's going on. She meets another god and she has no idea. She doesn't have any magic. She doesn't know what to do with herself. She's just trying to get a normal job living as a mortal. And it is very difficult, obviously. So she makes a deal with Hades by accident and then like loses it on him. And he's like, you have to make something grow in the underworld naturally. That's your task. You have 6 months. And there becomes the half a year thing where she's back and forth. It's honestly so good. I love it. It's beautiful and a little spicy. It like has the spice, but they were very short scenes. I will say that. That was kind of a letdown. I was expecting more. The next book I read for my other class, and it was for restoration, so it was a book featuring healers. And for that one I picked The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This was 5 stars, obviously. I went off in a rant and I cried in my vlog when I talked about this one because there is like polyamory rep, and to me that's like, oh my god, I'm finally being seen in a work of literature for the first time ever where it isn't just like a threesome. They genuinely talk about different kinds of love and their relationships and stuff, and to me that is like the most amazing thing I could have asked for and hoped for in like one of my already favorite series. To have a conversation like that was just like, perfection. And I legitimately cried reading this book a couple of times. And it like hurts to see that people are like, ew, a threesome, and then rating it really low on Goodreads because they think it's disgusting. And they just miss the whole point of it. And that's like my like little sad tidbit that I'm like, kind of hurts to have a lot of people be like, oh, this lifestyle is disgusting. But like, these are all like the same girls that are sitting there only reading male-to-male romances, and I'm just like, I don't know. Anyways, other than that, this book was amazing. There was plot twists. The first little bit was kind of irritating because Poppy still doesn't know anything about how the world works, so they're constantly explaining things to her, and some of the times where she asks questions, I'm like, can you just explain to her like off screen? I don't care. But other than that, it was really fun adventure. The Two Queen War was like, the ending was insane. I did not see it coming, and now I understand why there are 2 more books after this. I understand it now, because I didn't understand it before. I was like, if this is the villain, probably gonna be done by this book, what's gonna happen after? But I get it now. I totally get it. 5 stars, amazing. You should read this. The next book was also a quest. I got 10 points for it, and it is to read a 5-star prediction, and for that one I read Within the Sanctuary of Wings, a memoir by Lady Trent by Mary Brennan. And the covers of these still blow my mind how pretty they are. Whoever made these, like, holy shit. Good job, guys. This obviously ended up being 5-star because I love this series so much. I actually was doing some reflecting and I rated the first 2 books 4 stars. And I was like, why did I do that? Because they were incredible. And now I'm gonna have to go back and reread them so that I can rate them 5 stars. But this one was really fun. In this one, we're going on a mountain expedition with Lady Trent, Isabella. She has been told by a different man who her country is at war with his country, so it's a bit confusing and conflicting. There are some things that they have to work around to get where they're going, which I love the political aspect of it. And to get there safely, they end up just walking through the mountains to go find a specimen that he's like, this is a normal dragon, you need to see this. Like, I saw one and I thought there was a second one. The first one got destroyed. Please come see the second one. It's frozen in ice. And they do end up finding it. And then there's an avalanche and they all get separated, and she spends the winter with some other people. That's all I'm going to tell you because I can't spoil this. This is too good. And then the conflict that they have to overcome after that, man, this was like the perfect conclusion. There is a novella after this and I have it, I'm ready to get to it, but this was incredible. I love Lady Trent studying dragons the whole time. I love where this took a turn to. Like, I didn't think it could get better, and then it did. And I love the political aspect. She's always created such amazing cultures, I'm sure, that are based in reality here in this world. But in this world, they have such cool cultures and how they revolve around dragons. and the research of the draconians that used to live among them and the people who used to worship them and the different dragon breeds and how you could change a dragon's composure just by moving their eggs from like a warm environment to a cold environment and letting it hatch somewhere else was just like, it's such a cool concept of her studying the natural history of dragons and stuff that I want more constantly. Like, I'm gonna return to these. Not to mention, there is some really cool artwork in here. Like, spoiler, cool artwork for you to look at. 5 stars. Amazing. The first one is called The Natural History of Dragons. And I think my favorite one is still the third one, which is The Voyage of the Basilisk, because I like books with boats and I like piratey concepts. And that one was just really fun because that was like some real political stuff going on in there that was just like kidnapping a princess and stuff. Very fun. But I highly recommend this series. More people need to read this, please. Now that ends the good part of this review wrap-up video. The next book that I was supposed to finish, but since I finished my 2 classes previously, I was like, alright, my semester is technically done. So I was just working on quests. I already had my 100 points. And since I had my 100 points, I got up to the first level of our little guild tier here, which is the assistant. And the assistant says, your face is recognizable and there's a truer sense of belonging. It requires 100 guild reputation points, which I had. I had like 130 up to this point. And then it gives you the prompt, allows you to count genuine DNFs, books you did not fully finish, like genuine books that you couldn't get through. I read half of The Wolf and the Woodsman. I don't remember who it's by, I'm sorry, but I read half of it and I genuinely was not interested. I felt like nothing was really going on. There was like a little bit of spice in here, but it felt like a middle grade book without the fantastical, magical element that always draws you into a middle grade. Like the weird, when you read a middle grade, sometimes there are just like this sense of awe that you get, and that felt like a middle grade without the awe, if you get what I'm saying. And then there was like a little bit of spice, but not enough for it to genuinely be an adult fantasy, and I couldn't understand why it was an adult fantasy. And I do not really like Red Riding Hood retellings, if that makes any sense. There's only been like one movie that I liked that was a retelling of Red Riding Hood. It's not my favorite fairy tale, and the retellings are usually awful. So this was for a quest, and I had claimed it on Discord. It was like a herbologist quest specifically, and it was to read a book with a wolf on the cover or in title. And I read 50% of it, and I had 100 points, and I was like, I'm counting this as another 10 points, and I'm counting it as my genuine DNF for the month because I couldn't get through it. I got to chapter 14, which was like exactly 50% of the way through on the audiobook, and I couldn't even finish the audiobook. Not interested. So there's my little reasoning. And then I'm going to tell you, my manager, I was telling her about it, and she said, if the Red Riding Hood isn't fucking the wolf, I don't want it. And I was like, she's not, because she is the wolf, and it was really upsetting. And I agree with her 100%. It was not there for me. And the last and final book that I finished, which I did finish through torture. I was reading it the whole month, trying to read like a short story every couple of days, and it was Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. The cover of this is amazing, but I ended up giving it 2 stars, which is the first 2 stars I've given out this year, okay? That's serious. But it was, I think it might have just been some like lost in translation thing, because this is originally in Korean and translated to English for all of our enjoyment, and it was just not there for me, you know? Felt like it was gonna get creepier, but it just like stayed at this like subtle creepiness with kind of endings that didn't make me feel like I was going anywhere. They weren't indeterminate, but they weren't like satisfying, and it was just, I was conflicted because like I felt like they could have been better. Maybe it's just because I don't read a whole lot of short stories. I think somebody else would really enjoy it, but it wasn't for me. I felt like it really fell flat the whole time I was reading them. I was bored. Every short story I was just a little bit bored, and it just kind of disappointing because I was excited for it. They were like a little bit creepy, so that's why I gave them 2 stars instead of 1, but it was definitely a struggle to get through, and it took me literally all night. That's the last one I finished with. Hopefully I will have way better reading at the end of May or the beginning of May, and that won't continue. But overall, I think it was a successful month. I found a bunch of new favorites, which I'm excited for. I can't even, what book would be my favorite this month? To be honest, this entire stack is my favorite. Everything that I owned was a favorite book this month. Like, I went out and I bought Beach Read and I bought A Touch of Darkness, and then I had to trade in The City of Gold to get like a new one. So like a bunch of brand new books, first of all, and then just so much enjoyment. They're all my favorite. I don't think I could pick one. They all made me feel really happy, and genuinely this brought up my mood the entire month, and I am so thankful for all of these because I really, really needed this month, and it was just lovely and wonderful. So thank you, other than the last two, for bringing up my mood, because that was exactly what I needed. It was just amazing and incredible. You know, I hope you all had a really good reading month too. Let me know what was your favorite book that you read this month. I can't pick one, obviously. I have like 6 here, so indecisive, you know, but awesome. It was super fun. I got through everything that I needed. I got 140 reputation points, and I am just amazed. Like, holy crap. I did it. I didn't think I could do it this month, but I did it. I also have a bunch of other books. I did start reading a bunch of books that were on that TBR video. I will let you know. I started reading Bring Down the Duke, A Deadly Education, which was a different quest book, Catawitch, and something else I feel like I started reading. There was like a bunch that I'm like a little bit of the way through that I will finish in May that were on that TBR video, but other than that, it was overall a good time. If you also participated in Aurelium, I would love to know how you got through that, if you accomplished all your goals. I feel like I did put all my stuff into the Google thing that she had created, but I don't know for sure. I think if I missed one, I just missed this one. Or Cursed. I don't think I put Cursed Bunny in there. I don't know. Anywho, I hope you all had a great reading month like I did, mostly, and I will see you all in the next wrap-up video or the next video. I don't know what the next video is going to be, but have a great day. Bye!